Good morning, class. Before we get into the formal history assignment for the day, I'd like to bring to your attention an article I saw in the Union Tribune this weekend, which basically said, why can't we all be purple? No, it wasn't a report on Alice Walker, the color of purple. It was an evaluation of the red states and the blue states and why the United States is now so divided. Divided almost to the point where we're uncivil, depending on which side you live in. In reality, we've always been. And I'd like to take you back on an historic adventure to realize that social change, political change, economic change, human change takes a long time. And if we can get that idea, perhaps we can be a little less impatient with each other when we differ on a particular point, and a little more encouraging in the long run to find that, yes, we're all human beings underneath. So with that in mind, let's go back to the Founding Fathers. Now, in the beginning of the United States, I don't want to go back that far, we had two men of very different background and very different perspective, both of whom we count as Founding Fathers. Hamilton and Jefferson. Hamilton, coming from a commercial background, going to the state of New York and founding banking commercial interests there, and of course, eventually becoming the nation's first official banker, Secretary of the Treasury. Jefferson, a landed aristocrat from Virginia, widely read, highly respected, and very humane. Now, at that time, there was very little that the two agreed upon. After all, Hamilton thought we should have had a monarchy. Jefferson thought the real wisdom of the nation resided in the crossroads store. Hamilton was afraid of what he called king mob, meaning ordinary people. And it's very easy at the beginning of the 21st century to realize that in the beginning of this country, of, by, and for the people meant of, by, and for one white man in 17, because the requirements to participate in government were so stringent as to include not only property owned, but a bank account as well. Now, with that in mind, how did we get to the point where all of us now are encouraged to participate, whether we do or not? Well, the good thing about this last election is we got more out than usual. Unfortunately, our more is less in terms of percentage than any other democratic nation in the West. Be that as it may, let's take a look at the interests that divided the country then and how they came through. Before I do that, let me just highlight the voting. It took 50 years to get every white man a vote. Andrew Jackson. It took another 40 years and a civil war to get black men the vote, and then they were systematically denied it in a variety of ways. We won't go into it this time. It took another 60 years to get women the vote, and it took another 40 years to get the 18-year-olds the vote, even though they had been the bulk of our soldiers all the time. So now we have a nation in which all of the adults, theoretically, can participate. So that means of, by, and for the people now has a different meaning.